Today, we're going to talk about what I consider, in my opinion, to be the most important component and foundation of your exercise, diet, and fitness routine. Without it, you cannot succeed, and with it, you can do anything. And it's called the why behind what you're doing. Why are you doing this? Why do you need to take massive action to get this thing done? That's what we're going to explore today, and I think it's well worth listening. Whenever you embark upon a fitness goal, whether it's to lose fat, gain muscle, no matter what it is, you have to have a very compelling why behind it. Why am I doing this? What is the reason for this massive action I'm taking? Without that, you're never going to get there. And with that, there's nothing you can't do. So what is your why? Think about it for a second. It's either weak, moderate, or very strong. And those things will make the difference between you getting there and you not getting there. So let me give you some examples of what I consider very weak, impotent, lousy whys behind your exercise program. My doctor told me I need to do something about my weight. My wife, she bought me this program because she's concerned about me. She wants me to lose some weight. I just want to tone up. Any health issue that they can't feel or that isn't compromising their lifestyle. Like you saw it on the blood work, but you can't feel it. It's not really affecting your lifestyle at all. That's an impotent why. That's a very bad why. Those things are not going to really engender massive action towards your goal. Some examples of really, really powerful whys. I'm fed up with my body. I can't stand to live in this skin anymore. I have no energy. My sex drive, my relationship is tanking. I can't play with my kids anymore. That's huge. Think about that. How compelling is that? That's a good why. Those are really good ones. So if you notice, there's a very distinct difference between the two. What is the difference that you notice right away between the ones that were not good versus the ones that were good? The ones that aren't good, it's someone else wanting it for you. It's an outside force forcing you to do it. That never works. You have to want it for yourself. And the other reason for the bad ones being bad is that they're not causing enough problems yet. They're not compromising your enjoyment of life. Like the bad blood work marker is not enough. It's just not enough. You're not feeling it. It's not causing you to have any problems or issues or restrictions in your life yet. A wise man once said, that which we can tolerate, we can never change. Think about that. That which we can tolerate, we can never change. And by the way, this entire video is based on that premise. If you can tolerate it and deal with it and live your life with it, you're never going to take the massive action that's required to change it. Never. So you have to come up with a good, valid reason why you're doing this. And if you notice, the difference between the shitty whys and the good whys is the shitty whys require external forces to come in and create that reason to do it. Whereas the good whys, the effective whys, are coming from within. You yourself want this to happen, not someone else wants it for you. There's a huge distinction between those two things. And very few people come up with really compelling whys, and that's the problem, that's the reason they fail. So when I listen to somebody at the very beginning, why are you doing this? Why do you want this? Well, my wife wants me to do it. My coworker said I was fat, I just don't have much hope for them because that's just not enough of a why. You need a better why. Figure out a better why. When someone says, I am disgusted with my body. I can't fit in any of my clothes. I can't move. I'm out of breath all the time. I can't wipe my ass. My kids, I can't play with them. Then I'm thinking, okay, this guy has a good foundation, a good starting point for motivation to change his situation. So we have the good whys, we have the bad whys, and then we have the temporary whys, which are acceptable as well. These are whys that are short term, reasons to really pull out all the stops and do this thing that you want to do and really create this need to provide massive action towards a goal. But they're temporary, so you have to have a backup plan B why after the fact. So those things include like a competition, a photo shoot, or a vacation that requires you're going to a place where you're not going to have much clothes on, things like that. These are short-term goals, and there's nothing wrong with having short-term goals to inspire you to take massive action temporarily to get to a specific goal. Another good one is, I'll show so-and-so, whether it's an ex or whether somebody called you fat, whatever. You want to show them that you can do this. That's a huge, massive, really effective temporary goal. So all these things are things that will temporarily motivate you, but they're not going to last forever. Once you get to that goal, once that vacation is over, the photo shoot's done, you have the pictures, you're going to relax, you know. The competition's over, you're going to relax. Or that person, you showed that person, you're going to relax. Plus the fact that at some point you may realize that person really doesn't give a shit whether or not you achieve this goal. So at some point you're going to say, you know what? I did it. Now what? There's also something I call the anti-why. This is huge. You better make sure you don't have an anti-why rattling around in your head, because it will destroy your best intentions and best efforts. An anti-why is something you have in your subconscious that's causing you to do little tiny things in your routine that will take you away from your goal. It's kind of a fear of success type thing, where your routine is being compromised, but you don't realize it by little tiny things, just enough to make you not achieve your goal. And the reason is because you have this anti-why in your head as to why you don't want to achieve your goal. It's fear of success is what it is, basically encapsulated in an entire behavioral routine. I have a couple examples of people who have done that. I've told this story before about a woman who came to me and signed up to lose a bunch of weight. At first, it seemed like it was going well. After a while, I noticed a pattern. One week, she'd come in for her follow-up, and she had done all the dieting perfectly. But for some reason or reasons, she missed the workouts. She skipped the workouts. She didn't get the activity part in. Then the next week, she'd come in for her follow-up, her check-in, and she had done all the activity, but the diet was not perfect. In fact, it was really bad. So she'd go back and forth between the two, but never combined the two in an effective concert. So eventually I figured this out for her. She didn't realize. I said, look, what's going on here is you have fear of success. There's something about achieving this weight loss goal that scares you. Something about it that you think of as negative. You need to really reflect on this. Go home and think about it very deeply and figure out what it is about achieving this goal that scares you. And then once you realize what that is, then we can address it, squash it, and eventually, have a shot of hitting your goal. So she fought me on it. Initially, she said that that's not the case. She really wants this. Everything about her wants to achieve this goal. I beg to differ. There's something about it that scares you. You need to reflect on it and figure it out. Week after week, follow-ups came and went. She followed the diet, not the workout. She followed the workout, not the diet. And this went on for quite some time. Finally, one week she came into me and she was in tears. And she goes, I reflected on this and reflected on this. And finally, it dawned on me. And you are right. This whole time, in the back of my mind, the very recesses of my consciousness, I've been thinking, well, if I lose this weight and I get my body in shape, I'm going to leave my husband. He always said, if you leave me or if we split up, I'm going to take our son, I'm going to move to Italy, and we're going to live there. So this whole time, she was thinking about that as a possible outcome of losing this weight. Losing this weight equaled to her losing her son. How in the world, with that anti-why in place, can you possibly take massive action to lose the weight and get in the ultimate shape of your life when you know it's going to result in you losing your son forever? But that's an example of someone who has the best of intentions, but there's no way she's going to follow through with everything she needs to do when she knows on the other end of it comes this body, but she's going to lose her son. That's an anti-why. I've also had people who are very afraid. This happens a lot, actually, that once they lose the weight, they're going to cheat on their significant other. And they're afraid of that because they're afraid of the attention that will come along with it. And again, that's an anti-why. It really is. That's a why that says, don't do this. Something bad's on the other side. You can only do this if you think something monumentally great is on the other side of it. This massive action, the suffering, the deprivation, the controlled environment that you'll live in for such a period of time is only doable if you think something really great is on the other side of it, not really tragic. Still, other people think, well, if I do all this work and I get ripped and I get in shape, I'll never be able to retain it and maintain it. So what's the point of getting there in the first place? Another anti-why. Also, I'm afraid my friends will no longer accept me, which, by the way, happens to people who lose a lot of weight and get in shape. If they're part of a community of people who are not in tune with that lifestyle, and they are heavy or out of shape, whatever, and then you get in shape, you may very well lose them as friends. And so that's a common fear among my clients. And that keeps them from, that's an anti-why. That keeps them from doing what they need to do to get there. A lot of people end up identifying with their physical states. Big fat guy is called, Big Joe. I'm Big Joe. And they identify with that. And they kind of like it. I'm Big Joe. If I lose a bunch of weight and I end up at 190 pounds, I'm Medium Joe. So that really fucks with my entire identity is compromised. So where's the real compelling why to get to Medium Joe? It's not there. So in order to be successful at this, I guess I can say in wrapping this up, you really have to identify the shitty whys that you may have and eliminate them. Nurture and give strength to the good whys. Come up with them. Now, the whys I gave you that were good are my whys, my ideas. Come up with your own thing. And that's something that resonates with you. And then take those anti-whys and make sure you have none of them in your system because they will destroy everything. That's the best way to achieve your goal. Look at the whys, the good, the bad, the ugly. Nurture the good. Destroy the ugly. Get rid of the antis. And then you have a shot at creating a platform and an environment for this massive action that you need to take to get there. But without that, you don't have a shot.